In the vast and mystical world of Dragon Ball, where martial artists strive for greatness and supernatural powers are within reach for those who dare to seek them, the story of Tao Pai Pai, also known as Tao Bei Bei, climbing the Korin Tower and drinking the ultra-divine water unfolds as a tale of ambition, rivalry, and the relentless pursuit of strength. This is a world where the strong dominate, and the weak are left behind, and Tao Bei Bei, a legendary assassin, is determined to prove that he is the strongest. His journey to the Korin Tower is driven by a singular goal: to surpass the rising star of martial arts, Son Goku, who has already begun to make a name for himself with his incredible feats of strength and unyielding spirit. Tao Bei Bei is no ordinary fighter. As a member of the Crane School, he has honed his skills to perfection, mastering techniques that strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. His signature move, the Dodon Ray, is a deadly energy beam that can pierce through almost anything, and his agility and precision in combat are unmatched. However, despite his formidable abilities, Tao Bei Bei has grown restless. The emergence of Son Goku, a young Saiyan with seemingly limitless potential, has shaken his confidence. Goku's victory over the Red Ribbon Army, an organization that once hired Tao Bei Bei as their top assassin, has left the latter feeling humiliated and desperate to reclaim his status as the strongest. This desperation drives him to seek out the legendary Korin Tower, a structure that stretches high into the heavens, said to be guarded by the wise and powerful Korin, a cat-like martial arts master. At the top of the tower lies the ultra-divine water, a mystical elixir rumored to unlock unimaginable strength in those who can withstand its deadly effects. Meanwhile, Son Goku, the cheerful and determined young warrior, is unaware of Tao Bei Bei's plans. Having recently defeated the Red Ribbon Army and saved the world from their tyranny, Goku is focused on training and improving his skills. His journey has already taken him to incredible heights, from training under the tutelage of Master Roshi to battling powerful foes like King Piccolo. Goku's strength lies not only in his physical abilities but also in his pure heart and unshakable will. He possesses the ability to harness his ki, the life energy that flows through all living beings, to perform extraordinary techniques such as the Kamehameha Wave, a devastating energy blast that can level mountains. Goku's journey is one of constant growth, and his encounters with powerful opponents have only made him stronger. As Tao Bei Bei begins his ascent of the Korin Tower, the story shifts to a vivid depiction of his grueling climb. The tower is no ordinary structure, it is impossibly tall, with its peak hidden among the clouds, and its surface is slick and treacherous. Tao Bei Bei's determination fuels him as he leaps from one precarious ledge to another, his movements precise and calculated. The higher he climbs, the more the air thins, and the physical strain becomes almost unbearable. Yet, Tao Bei Bei presses on, driven by his desire to surpass Goku. When he finally reaches the top, he is greeted by Korin, who is both amused and impressed by the assassin's tenacity. Korin warns Tao Bei Bei about the dangers of the ultra-divine water, explaining that it is not a gift but a test. Only those with a strong enough body and spirit can survive its effects, and many who have attempted to drink it have perished. Undeterred, Tao Bei Bei accepts the challenge, believing that his strength and willpower are unmatched. The moment Tao Bei Bei drinks the ultra-divine water, his body is racked with excruciating pain. The elixir courses through his veins like liquid fire, testing the limits of his endurance. His muscles bulge and contract as his body undergoes a violent transformation, his ki surging to unprecedented levels. After what feels like an eternity, the pain subsides, and Tao Bei Bei emerges from the ordeal stronger than ever. His power is palpable, his aura radiating an intense energy that even Korin finds unsettling. With his newfound strength, Tao Bei Bei descends the tower, his confidence restored and his resolve unshakable. He is ready to face Son Goku and prove once and for all that he is the strongest. The stage is set for the inevitable clash between Tao Bei Bei and Son Goku. The two warriors meet in a vast, open field, the air crackling with tension. Tao Bei Bei, now infused with the power of the ultra-divine water, exudes an aura of menace, his eyes gleaming with confidence. Goku, on the other hand, remains calm and focused, his youthful exuberance tempered by the seriousness of the situation. The battle begins with a flurry of blows, each fighter testing the other's strength. Tao Bei Bei's movements are faster and more precise than ever, his strikes landing with devastating force. Goku counters with his signature agility, dodging and weaving through the onslaught with ease. The ground shakes as their fists collide, creating shockwaves that ripple through the battlefield. Tao Bei Bei unleashes his Dodon Ray, the energy beam streaking toward Goku with blinding speed. Goku responds with a Kamehameha Wave, the two attacks colliding in a spectacular explosion of light and energy. The force of the blast sends both fighters flying backward, but they quickly recover, their determination unshaken. As the battle intensifies, Tao Bei Bei's frustration grows. Despite his enhanced strength, he is unable to land a decisive blow on Goku, whose resilience and adaptability continue to surprise him. Goku, meanwhile, begins to tap into his hidden potential, his ki surging as he channels his energy into a powerful transformation. His muscles expand, and his aura glows with a golden light, signaling the awakening of his true power. The fight reaches its climax as the two warriors unleash their full strength. Tao Bei, desperate to win, launches a relentless barrage of attacks, each one more powerful than the last. Goku, now fully transformed, meets each strike with equal force, his movements a blur of speed and precision. The battlefield is reduced to rubble as their attacks tear through the landscape, the sheer magnitude of their power evident in every blow. In the end, it is Goku's unyielding spirit and pure heart that give him the edge. With a final, devastating Kamehameha wave, he overwhelms Tao Bei, sending the assassin crashing to the ground in defeat. As the dust settles, Goku stands victorious, his breathing heavy but his spirit unbroken. Tao Bei, battered and humbled, is forced to acknowledge the strength of his young opponent. The battle serves as a reminder that true strength comes not from external enhancements but from the heart and the will to never give up. And so, the story of Tao Bei's quest for power comes to an end, but the journey of Son Goku, the Saiyan warrior with a heart of gold, continues, as he strives to reach even greater heights in his pursuit of strength and justice. The battle between Tao Pai and Son Goku atop the Korin Tower was a clash of titans, each fighter pushing their limits to the absolute edge. Tao Pai, having consumed the ultra-divine water, felt his body surging with newfound power, his muscles rippling with energy as his ki exploded outward in a crimson aura. His eyes glowed with a predatory intensity as he lunged at Goku, his movements faster than ever before. Goku, however, was no stranger to overwhelming odds. His training under Korin had honed his reflexes and sharpened his instincts, and he met Tao Pai's assault head-on, their fists colliding in a shockwave that sent tremors through the tower. Tao Pai's strategy was brutal and efficient. He aimed to overwhelm Goku with sheer speed and precision, his attacks a blur of motion as he targeted Goku's vital points. His signature Dodonpa technique crackled at his fingertips, and he fired it in rapid succession, forcing Goku to dodge and weave through the deadly beams. Goku, however, was adapting quickly. He used his agility to his advantage, flipping and spinning through the air to evade the attacks, his movements fluid and unpredictable. Each time Tao Pai thought he had Goku cornered, the young martial artist would slip away, his determination shining through his every action. The fight escalated as Goku began to counterattack. Channeling his ki, he launched a series of rapid punches and kicks, each strike aimed at breaking through Tao Pai's defenses. The assassin blocked and parried with ease, his enhanced strength allowing him to absorb the blows without faltering. But Goku wasn't deterred. He knew he had to push harder, dig deeper. With a roar, he unleashed his Kamehameha wave, the blue energy beam surging toward Tao Pai with devastating force. Tao Pai smirked, his confidence unshaken, and countered with his own Dodonpa beam. The two attacks collided in mid-air, creating a blinding explosion of light and energy that shook the very foundations of the tower. As the dust settled, both fighters stood their ground, their bodies battered but unbroken. Tao Pai's smirk widened as he realized Goku was still standing. "You're tougher than I thought, brat," he sneered, his voice dripping with malice. But this is where it ends. With a sudden burst of speed, he closed the distance between them, his fists a blur as he unleashed a flurry of strikes aimed at Goku's chest and head. Goku barely managed to block the onslaught, his arms trembling under the force of the blows. But he refused to back down. Summoning every ounce of strength, he pushed back, his own fists flying in a counterattack that forced Tao Pai to retreat. The battle reached a fever pitch as both fighters began to tap into their hidden reserves of power. Tao Pai's crimson aura flared brighter, his movements becoming even more erratic and unpredictable. He began to incorporate acrobatics into his attacks, flipping and spinning through the air to disorient Goku. But Goku was learning fast. He mirrored Tao Pai's movements, his own agility and reflexes allowing him to keep pace. The two fighters clashed again and again, their fists and feet a blur of motion as they traded blows with increasing ferocity. Goku's determination began to shine through as he started to gain the upper hand. He realized that Tao Pai's reliance on brute strength and speed left him vulnerable to well-timed counters. With a calculated feint, Goku lured Tao Pai into a false sense of security, then struck with a devastating uppercut that sent the assassin flying backward. Tao Pai crashed into the tower's railing, his body momentarily stunned. But he quickly recovered, his eyes blazing with fury. "You'll pay for that," he roared, his voice echoing through the air. The fight took a dramatic turn as Tao Pai Pai unleashed his ultimate technique. Channeling all of his ki into his hands, he created a massive energy sphere, its dark crimson light pulsating with raw power. "This is the end, Goku," he shouted, hurling the sphere toward his opponent. Goku's eyes widened as he realized the sheer destructive force of the attack. But instead of dodging, he stood his ground, his mind racing as he formulated a plan. With a deep breath, he focused his ki, his hands glowing with a brilliant blue light. As the energy sphere closed in, Goku unleashed his own Kamehameha wave, the two attacks colliding in a cataclysmic explosion that lit up the sky. The force of the blast sent both fighters flying, their bodies slamming into the tower's walls. Goku struggled to his feet, his body aching from the impact, but his spirit unbroken. Tao Pai Pai, however, was not so fortunate. The strain of the battle and the toll of the ultra-divine water had pushed his body to its limits. He staggered, his movements sluggish as he tried to regain his footing. Goku saw his opportunity and seized it. With a burst of speed, he closed the distance between them, his fists a blur as he delivered a series of rapid strikes to Tao Pai Pai's chest and abdomen. Tao Pai Pai's defenses crumbled under the relentless assault, his body unable to withstand the onslaught. With a final, powerful punch, Goku sent the assassin flying, his body crashing to the ground in a heap. Tao Pai Pai struggled to rise, but his body refused to obey. He glared at Goku, his eyes filled with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "How? How is this possible?" he gasped, his voice barely above a whisper. Goku stood tall, his breathing heavy but his resolve unwavering. "You may have power," he said, his voice steady, "but you don't have the heart of a true warrior. That's why you'll never win." With those words, Goku prepared to deliver the final blow, his fist glowing with ki as he aimed it at Tao Pai Pai's chest. But before he could strike, Tao Pai Pai's body began to convulse, his energy fading as the effects of the ultra-divine water wore off. With a final, defeated groan, he collapsed, his body limp and unmoving. The battle was over. Goku stood victorious, his body battered but his spirit stronger than ever. He looked down at Tao Pai Pai, a sense of pity in his eyes. "You could have been a great fighter," he said softly, "but you chose the wrong path." With that, Goku turned and began his descent from the Korin Tower, his mind already focused on the challenges that lay ahead. The fight had pushed him to his limits, but it had also shown him the true strength that lay within. And he knew that no matter what obstacles he faced, he would always rise to the occasion, a true warrior in every sense of the word. The air crackled with tension as Tao Pai Pai, having scaled the towering Korin Tower and consumed the legendary ultra-divine water, stood face to face with Son Goku. The battlefield, a desolate plateau surrounded by jagged cliffs, bore the scars of their earlier skirmishes. Tao's silver hair gleamed under the harsh sunlight, his eyes cold and calculating, while Goku, battered but unyielding, clenched his fists, his determination burning brighter than ever. The stakes were clear. This was no longer just a fight for survival but a clash of ideologies, a test of who truly deserved the power they had fought so hard to attain. Tao Pai Pai struck first, his movements a blur as he launched himself at Goku with a flurry of precision strikes. Each blow was aimed to cripple, his assassin's instincts honed to perfection. Goku, however, had grown exponentially since their last encounter. He dodged and weaved, his reflexes sharpened by years of training and countless battles. The ground beneath them shattered with each collision, the sheer force of their attacks sending shockwaves rippling through the air. Tao's lips curled into a smirk as he pressed his advantage, his strikes growing faster and more ferocious. "You've improved, boy," he sneered, "but it won't be enough to defeat me." Goku gritted his teeth, his body screaming in protest as he absorbed the relentless assault. He knew he couldn't keep up this pace forever. Tao's mastery of combat was unparalleled, and the ultra-divine water had amplified his strength to terrifying levels. But Goku had something Tao lacked, an unshakable spirit and the will to protect those he loved. With a roar, Goku channeled every ounce of his energy into a counterattack, his fists glowing with a golden aura as he unleashed a devastating Kamehameha wave. The blast tore through the battlefield, forcing Tao to leap back, his smirk faltering for the first time. The battle raged on, each fighter pushing themselves to their absolute limits. Tao's movements became more erratic, his frustration mounting as Goku continued to defy him. "Why won't you fall?" he snarled, his voice laced with rage. He launched a barrage of energy blasts, each one aimed to obliterate, but Goku dodged with uncanny precision, his instincts guiding him through the chaos. The ground around them was reduced to rubble, the once pristine plateau now a war-torn wasteland. As the fight reached its climax, both fighters were battered and bloodied, their bodies pushed to the brink of collapse. Tao's breathing was ragged, his once impeccable technique faltering under the strain. Goku, too, was on the verge of exhaustion, his muscles trembling with every movement. But it was in this moment of desperation that Goku found his breakthrough. He closed his eyes, tuning out the pain and the chaos, and focused on the energy within him. The teachings of Master Roshi, the wisdom of Korin, and the bonds he shared with his friends all coalesced into a single, unbreakable resolve. His aura flared to life, a radiant golden light enveloping his body as he tapped into a power he had never before accessed. Pao's eyes widened in shock as he felt the sheer magnitude of Goku's energy. "Impossible," he shouted, his voice tinged with fear. But it was too late. Goku's transformation was complete, his power surging to unimaginable heights. With a speed that defied comprehension, he closed the distance between them, his fist connecting with Tao's chest in a blinding flash of light. The impact sent Tao hurtling through the air, his body crashing into the cliffside with a deafening roar. The ground trembled as the cliff collapsed, burying Tao beneath a mountain of rubble. For a moment, there was silence. Goku stood amidst the devastation, his golden aura flickering as he struggled to maintain his newfound power. He knew the fight was over, but the cost had been immense. His body was on the verge of collapse, every muscle screaming in agony. Yet, despite the pain, he felt a profound sense of peace. He had faced his darkest fears and emerged stronger for it. As the dust settled, Tao Pai Pai emerged from the rubble, his body broken but still clinging to life. He stared at Goku, his expression a mixture of disbelief and grudging respect. You truly are something else," he muttered, his voice barely audible. With a final, labored breath, he collapsed, his body finally succumbing to the injuries he had sustained. The aftermath of the battle was profound. Goku's victory not only cemented his status as one of the strongest warriors in the universe but also sent a clear message to those who sought to abuse their power. The balance of power had shifted, and the world would never be the same. Goku's actions had inspired countless others to strive for greatness, to protect what they held dear, and to never give up in the face of adversity. As Goku stood atop the ruined plateau, gazing out at the horizon, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced his greatest challenge and emerged victorious, but he knew this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, and there were still countless battles to be fought, countless lives to be saved. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of rest, his heart filled with gratitude for the friends and mentors who had guided him on this journey. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the battlefield. In the distance, the faint sound of laughter echoed through the air, a reminder of the bonds that had brought him this far. Goku smiled, his spirit unbroken, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The universe had changed, and so had he. And together, they would continue to evolve, forging a future filled with hope and endless possibilities.